Welcome to Soul and Synergy Radio. Soul and Synergy Radio is dedicated to exploring the mysteries of the universe and our place in it. Your hosts, Terry and Danny, are the owners of Soul and Synergy LLC, based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Each week, they will be delving into topics that are part of the metaphysical and paranormal world, along with spiritual practices that help us connect with our higher selves and tap into the energy of the cosmos. The show will feature interviews with members of the metaphysical and paranormal community, sharing their knowledge and insights with their listeners. Whether you're new to this world or an experienced seeker, Soul and Synergy has something for everyone. Now, your hosts, Terry Flick and Danny Loosemore.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Soul and Synergy Radio. It's Danny and Terry here.
Good morning.
We're here for a really interesting episode. We have a couple of guests coming on, and one is Sheedy, and she'll be talking about her work and her practices, conscious empowerment and such. And then we will have our really good friend Patty Q, who is an artist and spiritualist that will be joining us later on in the show. So really what we're talking about is kind of divinating through art and doing spirit art and spirit paintings and having her talk about her work as well. So it's going to be a pretty interesting episode.
Yeah, as always.
As always.
Yeah, I was like, so Danny's running a little late this morning. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I know Coral, and she's an amazing person and stuff, but I was like, oh, I gotta check her out online and see where she is. And so I type in her name, and guess what pops up?
What pops up?
Coral's on Soul Synergy Radio.
Yes.
I was telling Todd about that. That's amazing.
Totally amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, things have been going so well.
Yeah. We just came off of Grand Rapids last weekend. Amazing people in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Big shout out. What do we have? Like 230 people visit us that day.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was great.
I mean, I was totally impressed. I mean, we were getting set up, and at 9 a.m. people started to file into the lobby.
Yeah.
And that's something that happened even at our Eau Claire show.
Yeah.
Where people started to come in and get ready for the show. Whether it's the free gift bags or not, I'm not quite sure. But I know some people like to do that kind of a thing. But when you have 100 people walk in right at the beginning of a show, it's a really great feeling.
Yeah. So this weekend, or not this weekend, but February 18th, we're in Stevens Point. You can come there and visit us as well and see all the good stuff. We are at the, Elks Lodge.
Elks Lodge
In Stevens Point.
Yes. And that one's getting a lot of buzz too.
Oh yeah.
You know, even though we had to switch our dates.
Yeah. So I'll do a big shout out here. So Jessa from Northwoods, out of I believe the Rhinelander area. I can't remember exactly sure where she's out of. We'll be doing a show in Wausau that day.
Yes.
And then I just was this week I was asked if we would like to be part of somebody else's show on the same day. Over Monticello. Is that right? Monticello, Wisconsin. So there are 3 wellness fairs within an hour's drive of each other on the weekend of the 18th. So, yeah, it can be definitely a fair day, a girl's day, a guy's day, whatever it can be.
Yes.
It'll be lots of fun.
Definitely a lot of fun. And we make some really good connections at those fairs with people and giving the messages that we have to give. I'm just so amazed all the time when people sit down and in front of me and it's just like, yep, you were supposed to be here and I'm supposed to tell you this.
Yeah.
For sure.
I should have brought my, I'll do that before we get off the air today. On that last half hour, I'll grab the vendors for Stevens Point and we can do some sharing.
Yeah, do some sharing of who's going to be there for Stevens Point. That'd be a really great idea.
Yeah. So I just think of having 3 shows on the same day and morning, Ellie, and having all the healings that can happen in that day within an hour you know, how amazing that's going to be.
Totally amazing. And I remember some highlights from a lot of our shows, and Ashland, for one, our first time in Ashland doing a show that was pretty special. Where even though it was a smaller town and a little bit of a smaller crowd, people would come in, and then all of a sudden we're doing a Reiki healing session in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Where you have Reiki healers with people coming in and someone needing some help, and then you have a whole line of healers around that person, giving them help, and it's just a magical.
Yeah, that
experience.
was crazy, because I was the one direct person at working with the person we were doing the healing with, and then Stephanie came up and put her hand on my back, and it was like, oh, I could just feel the emotions start releasing from this lady, and it was just beautiful. Hopefully we get to see her again in Ashland when we go back up there in March.
March. So any of those types of things is a very really great experience for anybody that comes, and my hope is that Spirit says, okay, Danny and Terry's fair is here today, and we know that they can help these kind of people, and we're going to send them their way. So that's my hope anyway.
That is it, and that's what we put out. So
for sure.
Morning, Melanie. Morning, Diana.
Oh, good morning, guys.
Shelley.
Nice to see all of you. And remember, during the show, we answer your questions and kind of bring you into the conversation as well. So feel free to ask anything you'd like.
Yeah,
for sure. I know that in our store, we kind of started a couple of new groups that are happening once a month. One I've been calling Tarot Share, which is, if you're familiar with Reiki Share, it's where tarot readers come together and get readings from each other and learn about things and all of that. And really had a really great experience yesterday with that. And it was, I don't know, it's just like Spirit brings people together that need to hear stuff from each other all the time. So that's excellent. And we also have Divination Lab, where you bring in all the tools that are gathering dust on your mantle, and you actually bring them in, and we get to use them. And then we also have a wide variety of different divination tools that you probably haven't seen before. That's just where we're able to kind of educate you on different things. I mean, we got something called I Ching, which is something I'd never seen before, and that we learned about in Divination Lab this week, having to do with hexagrams and throwing coins and heads and tails and a lot of different kind of framework and processes around it. But it's really great to learn and understand other cultures' way of divining.
Yeah.
So we got some really great stuff in the store, some new items that if you see our Facebook page, you'll be able to kind of take a look at. And we're really trying to work on our online store.
We are. Yeah, it's been a process this week. So hopefully within the next week or so, we can get that up and rolling and get our switchover done. So
and working with new software is always an interesting.
Yeah. And then getting our classes online in March.
Yep, classes coming online in March. I've been really trying to figure out Zoom and breakout rooms, and how do you make sure that people don't share the links and all of that with other people. And it's just a lot of background to get ready. But we will be offering classes starting in March. I'm going to start first off with Beginner's Tarot. We'll do a Beginner's Tarot in March online and in classes. So it'll be a hybrid. So people in town can come here and be in the store and enjoy our little coffee bar and some snacks. And the people online can join in on the fun as well. And then the week after, I'll start the 8-week Tarot Masterclass, which at the end, everybody gets a nice little certificate saying, you've passed the Tarot Masterclass, and why don't you put out your shingle and start giving readings to customers?
Yeah, certified.
Yeah. So that's some interesting things that are coming our way. We just want to make sure to put ourselves out there in as many different formats and forms that we can to kind of help everybody that needs it or kind of introduce people to this world.
I am just so amazed. Like, I think we've seen it somewhere when we were running around there, how many different ways they can find us. I mean, we're on Amazon Music.
Yeah, and Spotify.
And Spotify and BeanPod and
BeanPod.
whatever BeanPod is.
Yeah, and we're all over the place. And our producer, Todd, has really been helpful in kind of telling us all the different places we are and how to advertise that as well. So it's getting our word out there, our message, and all of that going on.
Yeah, and viewers from different countries now. And it's like,
yeah, Sweden, Ireland, and people from around the United States and San Francisco.
Yeah.
We're just these two little older guys in a little town called Eau Claire, and here we are getting broadcast to the world.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's very
many blessings. And when you the one thing I learned is that when you start to allow and you kind of surrender and say, this is what I want, and you allow things to happen and not micromanage the journey, it all seems to work out.
Oh, so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
So much easier.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm no longer in the wheelchair.
No, yes, he's out driving now. So
yes, I'm driving.
Yeah, back to normal.
So it's I was never really normal to begin with, but back to some sort of semblance of normalcy, at least. But I will tell you that for the first 8 to 10 days, I couldn't walk, and we had a show here in Eau Claire, and I'm going to shout out to Mark Hansen, a very awesome healer. And I went to him in my little two-wheeled, no, I guess it's four, my little four wheels, and rolled over to him during the show and had him do a healing on me. And no kidding, the next day I was up and walking around and not in any pain. So that was kind of interesting and scary. And for some of you that know, I work in the medical field, so I have that technical side of my brain that questions, how in the heck did that happen? That's not supposed to happen. Clinically, it's supposed to take 4 to 6 months to heal. Why am I on my feet? Why am I not in pain? And then the side of the right side of the brain that is all about the metaphysical and whatnot goes, see, Danny, these things really do work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to we did Reiki, of course, on it, and
yes,
essential oils and keeping the blood flows good and all that good stuff. And then Ellie did a little psychic surgery.
Yes,
so
had it from all different angles.
And that's what we do when we work on healings. And we help the body heal itself, so to speak. Yeah,
and it's important to recognize that even though we're in this arena.
Mm-hmm.
We still have those parts of ourselves that still doubt and are skeptical. So we may say that, hey, this really works. I've been doing it forever, blah, blah, blah. But even a fellow tarot reader might look at you and be skeptical of what you just said.
Yeah.
And it's hard to let that go. It's hard to let that programming, that indoctrination go. That you can accept what is being given to you without any type of suspicion.
And it really is, I don't know. I refer to as when you create fear. I don't know why I'm going to fears now, but and it is fears and ego.
Yeah,
kind of work together.
Fear is an ego-based thing. Yes.
Yes. So so when you start fearing or doubting, check in with your ego and see where it's at. Definitely, at least the mind over matter, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And ego tries to keep you pigeonholed into the silo that has been created for you. So if your ego believes that you only can be this kind of person or that kind of person, any which way your consciousness tries to deviate from that template of who it says you are, it'll make you afraid of it.
It will.
Yeah, so that you come back to it and say, oh, I'm only this kind of person. I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it tries to kind of keep you in one job description, Yeah,
it does.
And it'll make you afraid of everything outside of it. Or it'll draw your attention to reasons why it's not good for you.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of surpass that ego and say, you know what? I know you only want me to be this. but I want to be this, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
listening to you anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
Morning, Joy.
Yeah. Good morning, Joy.
Yeah, and I don't know. So I'm kind of all over the board this morning, which is my normal anyways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody the other day about manifesting, and somebody reached out, and I knew this was going to take longer than I could fit into the day. And I said, no, I'm already booked up for the whole afternoon. And I opened up my schedule thing for whatever day that was. And I so easily manifest things sometimes. Like I had 4 appointments that afternoon on the schedule already. I was like, wow, how interesting is that?
Yeah.
How when we just put it out there, it just happens.
Right. There are things that happen so smoothly and so quickly and without effort.
Yeah.
And then there are things that you overfocus on and you are putting a lot of energy into that don't seem to be moving. It's because you're getting in your own way. You're creating your own blockage of scarcity by thinking, oh, I don't have this, so I need this, so I'm going to manifest it. I really believe in Abraham Hicks's kind of perspective where you sit in the energy of abundance. You sit in the energy of what it would feel like to have it. And you tell yourself you have it. And because then you are creating that magnet of abundance, then abundance comes to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's a hard lesson to learn. And to get over your self-doubt is just so difficult.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, because you're told that life is a certain way for so long, your mind has a hard time wrapping itself around the fact that Terry can work on someone with some sort of physical ailment, and then they're able to use that appendage as soon as the session is done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your mind just gets blown. Part of you goes, oh, of course that worked, because, you know, Reiki is a healing modality, but there's still that little part of you that goes, really? Really?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I just like it better when, you know, it's like the young man I was working on last night, 17 years old, has all these issues. His mom and stepfather brought him in and stuff, and we're talking and stuff, and I just said, can I just lay my hands on you? And I just kind of walking around him and stuff and doing different things and picking up on all the stuff, and we were talking about different things between the 3 of us and stuff, or the 4 of us, I guess. And his mom sent me a picture later, like he hasn't slept in 2 days. His anxieties are so heavy, and on the way home, she sent me a picture. He's sleeping in the backseat of the car. Yeah. So, you know, just that is amazing.
That alone,
yeah,
really kind of tells you the story, and it's especially difficult for people who are in the clinical areas, kind of like I am, where you trust what you've been told about the body, you trust about everything that you've been taught about how things work biologically, and when you're able just to go in and work with someone energetically and have really great results, it's like blows your mind. You know, and even Melanie says on here, you know, myological brain still wants to reject the reality of it, and of course it does, because it's the logical brain that tells you, you know, you have to be this kind of person and you can't be anybody else. And it's kind of as one of my friends from college used to say, you're subverting the dominant paradigm. You're kind of in a covert mission to prove that what is out there really isn't all there is.
Right. For sure. Yeah. And then, you know, you get into this modality and you start, you know, start doing things, and all of a sudden you start seeing things that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And things like witch doctors haven't been around for hundreds of years or whatever. I mean, in my realm anyway.
In that kind of a form that you have in your mind.
Yeah. And like they show up in your healing room, or you know, an alien will step in, or God will, or Jesus steps in, and all these things I see, you know, it's like, wow. And you know, I have to step back and go, yeah, is this my brain doing this to me because this is where I'm going and what I want to see, or is it actually happening? And when I push ego aside, it shows me it's actually happening. So
and spirit comes to you in the form that you're not afraid of.
Yeah.
So if a spirit comes to you in that type of a form, it knows that you're able to work with it for what it needs you to do.
Yeah.
So spirit tries to come to you in a way that isn't scary.
Yeah. Oh, for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, for real. Because you can imagine if spirit comes to you in a form of something from a horror flick,
Yeah.
you know, that would kind of shy us away from even wanting to get into that realm. But it has a way of knowing, you know, what you are comfortable with and what you will respond to in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So amen on the Reiki. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Reiki master, and I definitely use energy in my daily life, and I kind of, you know, use the magic all day long, kind of a thing, to kind of move things forward and move things along, and maybe someday I will, you know, kind of do sessions like Terry does, but I kind of focus more on divination and using that for messages overall. In my online magazine, or our online magazine, and the Divination Society, I have a section called Esoterics, where we talk about all the different kinds of divination that are out there. And I've talked about divination with frogs. I've talked about divination with tearing the guts out of animals, and divination related to dust, and like we just talked about coins yesterday. So it's just so many ways of getting messages from spirit. It's just amazing.
Didn't you have one in there about molten metal or something?
Yeah, molten metal.
I was like, what the heck?
Where iron people would melt down metal and then throw it on the ground, in whatever shape it formed. They had a key of some sort that said that this is what it means.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, and I just did one the other day on ovomancy, which is the way of cracking an egg into a glass of water, and you divinate based on how the strands of the white part of the egg makes in the glass, and you're able to divine from the shapes that it makes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Ovomancy. Eggs aren't just for eating, that's for sure.
At the prices they are right now?
At the prices they are right now, you know, it'd be a pretty expensive divination practice. You know, you're going to have to take a mortgage for a dozen eggs. But yeah, so there's just so many ways to talk to spirit. Just so many ways.
And I'll give you the shout out. That's yours.
Yes.
That divination stuff, that's yours. I don't even get chances to read half of it. So
yeah, I just pretend that you do. And then I feel good about myself. Oh, Diana said my friend's mom has used coffee and creamer for divination for years.
Oh, nice.
All the different shapes that it can possibly
Well, didn't you look at something like tea readings and...
Oh, yeah, tea leaf readings and all of that. And in next month's divination lab here at the store, where I got a teacup that has all the divination signs in it and whatnot, and we'll be using that for tea leaf reading. We attempted to even try it this week, but you can't just cut open a tea bag and make it work. It has to be the long kind of loose leaf tea.
There's a special tea?
Yeah, and it says specifically in the instructions not to use the tea bag and open it up. So it's just like, darn, because that's all we had. But we can use that next month and see what kind of fun stuff we can come up with.
Nice.
Yeah. And Starseed Discovery. And yes, I know that's you now, Craig. Yeah, that strength and spirits being a part of you. Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll throw it out there that any modality or anything you decide you want to do in your life, get attuned to at least level 1.
Yeah, at least level 1.
It will help your connections so much more. It'll help keep you balanced.
You know, and we all use energy every day. I mean, people who don't even realize that they're doing it, that they get the thing they want because it just seems so impossible for them to get it, and then all of a sudden they got it, or any of those things. They're using energy and intention and will and all that all the time. But when you take a Reiki class, you learn how to harness it and create a conduit for it so it's more effective.
Yeah.
And with each subsequent class, whether it's first, second, or master, or even after master, you know, if we kind of go on that route, there's just so many different things you can do with it and teach people how to use it. You know, that's one of the things that we're kind of here for, is that we're for people who learn these things, we're kind of tasked with the job of teaching other people how to make it happen and make it work.
Right. Yeah. And heal themselves.
And heal themselves.
Work on themselves.
And that's one of the things that we tend to forget is that, we're allowed to heal ourselves. We're allowed to do Reiki on ourselves and have that ability. And we're so busy helping others, sometimes we forget to help ourselves. And
it's so simple to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing more than connecting in and connecting into the energy before you go to sleep. Put your hands on your body and say thank you and go to sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
let it work overnight while you're sleeping.
Yeah, end your day with gratitude and begin your day with gratitude. Even just a simple word or a feeling when you wake up, and it's just like, oh, it's going to be a great day, or any of those things. Really, really kind of, what's that?
Put your own oxygen mask on first.
Oh, yes. When the plane's going down, put on your own oxygen mask first, else you'll be useless to everybody else. Yeah. Oh, look who joined us.
Honey, good morning, hon.
Yes, good morning. Great to see you here with us. So working on yourself is just as important as working on other people.
Absolutely.
And one of the great things you can do after you learn how to really kind of harness it is you can create the energy of a room.
Mm-hmm.
You can completely shift the energy of a room if things are going south.
Oh, yeah.
Just by channeling that energy into the room. And then everybody seems to lighten up.
So that brings me to Energy 101.
Yes.
So that's a class I teach, and I don't know how to get that online yet, because in the classroom here I bring out different objects and different things that we work with and stuff.
Making energy balls,
but feeling energy is a big thing, and not for a Reiki practitioner, but for everyone, and
Mm-hmm.
feeling the energy of the room and of course I bring out crystals and stuff that we work with and stuff, but teaching people how to feel the energy in the body, in your own body, diagnose your own health stuff even to
Mm-hmm.
a point. And then, excuse me. And then, teaching to feel what's going on around
Mm-hmm.
you. And then I stand around and I change the energy within the room, or I bring Argon in and have him change the energy of the room. When you bring a dragon into a room this size, it creates a heavy energy, and then we lift that and feel how that changes us as well,
Mm-hmm.
or how we can make that work for ourselves too.
And everybody feels energy differently.
Absolutely.
I feel it kind of like I don't want to say it. Like when you put the same polarity magnets together and they kind of bounce off of one another. The push. I kind of feel that as the energy as you're working with it.
Yep.
Hi, Courtney. Nice to have you with us.
Yeah.
Definitely.
2 minutes.
We're 2 minutes away from Coral.
We are 2 minutes from Coral.
So
I haven't seen her in like 2 years.
In ages.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it'll be really great to start that conversation. But lastly, what I wanted to bring up is that we all need to be really well-rounded. We don't necessarily need to be pigeonholed into one thing. So it's always great to explore and expand your knowledge on a bunch of different topics, and as it relates to divination or Reiki or energy healing or any of those things.
Yeah.
Because once you do, you kind of connect all the dots and find out that it's just all energy anyway.
Yeah.
It's just different methods for focusing energy, whether it's prayer or an incantation or just a few words muttered underneath your breath when someone doesn't use their turn signal. It's all energy to kind of focus on and to use.
Yeah, I think, and then there's been a lot of strange things happening in my world this week, especially since we left Grand Rapids. Different modalities, like things are popping up in my feeds that, like, where am I supposed to go next with what modality?
Yeah,
I know Reiki is always going to be my background,
your
my
go-to.
I know that, but when I look at these things and go, oh, well, that feels good.
Yeah.
Maybe I check into that, or whatever the case may be. And this, we're talking about conscious empowerment today.
Yeah.
And it always feels good. But when Tanya was on, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It was like, Well, that's interesting. So, Tanya's going to start teaching here. Actually, her first class is the 24th. So,
Yes.
February. So, so that will be interesting. But experience things, I guess, is what I want to say. Get out there and try it. And, if it feels interesting, Google it and see where else it goes for you, because there's so much out there.
Yes.
So much. So.
Right. So it's at the bottom of the hour. It's 10:30. Why don't we go ahead and take a little break, and then we will be back on with our first guest.
Oh, Lisa, good morning.
See you in a little bit.
The Body Code is a revolutionary method of energetic healing developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson, which allows us to quickly and easily identify specific imbalances that seem to underline chronic ill health, acute and chronic pain, and discomfort, dysfunction, and stress. Ellie energetically connects with the subconscious of the client. Psychic medium Ellie Weisensell is a medical intuitive and energy healer, and a certified body code practitioner. She identifies and clears energetic imbalances within the body and energy field. Contact Ellie at the website below, and Ellie can work remotely from a distance, by phone, online, video chat. There's no need to travel to an office. Remember, the Body Code is safe for humans and animals. Contact Ellie today.
Welcome back, everyone, to wltkdb, Soul and Synergy Radio. We have a very special guest here with us today, someone that I've had readings with that are just amazing, Sheedy. And why don't we go ahead and bring her on?
Bingo!
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Well, I love your backdrop.
Oh, thank you. It's really funny. If I turn this camera around, this is literally my jungle. Like, there's so many plants. So this is my grounding room and my butterfly for transformation, floating my garden.
Awesome. Nice. Very awesome. Well, I was very happy that you agreed to be on the show with us today. I was kind of asking Spirit who to bring forward to us for this week's show, and he Spirit, whatever you want to call it, he, she, whatever, aimed me towards you. So it's just very great that you were able to make this work for us, because I think our listeners would really appreciate to hear about you and your story. So why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us what you do?
Well, my name is Coral, and I am an energetic intuitive healer. That's what I refer to myself now. But, my business, which is Conscious Empowerment, was really born through my life story, which, that's what happens with life. It just kind of takes you where it's going to take you. And it's interesting now, from being able to look at it from being able to help people with what I went through, the purpose of that journey. It reveals more and more all the time. And it's still growing. And now instead of, there was a lot of rough parts, and I was dreading life, and there were just horrible, miserable things that started happening. And Spirit just along the way had been talking to me, even if I didn't realize it. And through that, showed me different ways. I came across law of attraction, and when I did that, it literally changed my life. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to you guys, before I came on, and I loved what you guys were saying, because it was so right on. It's so interesting how, in essence, we're all teaching the same thing in different ways. Yeah. But it's how it's presented resonates with people differently. So it's so beautiful in that process. But that literally, with conscious empowerment, that is what, it's all about. but it's about, with conscious empowerment, now I'm able to help people instead of, teaching things like law of attraction and, a lot of people have seen The Secret, but when I started, that was kind of where my big disconnect was. It's like, okay, I can kind of get the concepts, but actually applying them to your life was a different part that had to come in. And it's really interesting how much when you start not just knowing the concepts, but applying the concepts, how things can change so quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But how many times are we told, hey, we're so much more powerful than what we know? And it's like, wow, that's really cool. I love that idea. But what does that mean?
Right.
Right.
And that's where we're left. So with conscious empowerment, it literally, like I'm saying, it came from my story. It's the things that I had to go through, the things that I had to learn the hard way. And now to be able to bring those parts and pieces together to help other people, it's amazing. And I literally say it's fun because people will start with me, and a lot of times it's through readings, like how I met you guys, like at the fairs and doing readings. And then it's like, okay, like now what do I do? You know what I mean? Like you talk with people and I give them good ideas, but then it's like, okay, you send them out the door and they're like, oh my God, I have no idea what to do. But
Right.
I really like what I heard. And it's like, okay, what happens is in our life, psychologists say it's like 90% of the thoughts that we think are not even our own. Mm-hmm. It's the people that we're conditioned from in our life. So it's mother, father, preacher, teacher, grandma, grandpa, whoever those people were. And they were the examples that we learned from. And if they didn't know these things, they could not teach them to you. So it's not, I remember one of the first things, it was like, oh my gosh, why didn't anybody ever tell me this? Mm-hmm. It was because they didn't know.
Right. Yeah.
But from there it was like, okay, I need to figure this out. And it was a very personal thing. It was like, I need to figure this out for me, because I need to be okay. And I wasn't. And step by step, I say everything is baby steps. We don't get any place where we are. We don't get there overnight. It's a process. Mm-hmm. And step by step, I had to start stepping out of that. Mm-hmm. And it is definitely possible, but it takes work. And, along the way, it was also about learning to love myself. And we all say like, yes, I love myself, but then if you really sit back and listen to the thoughts that you think when you're talking to yourself,
yeah,
that's where that 90% comes in. Because we hear other people's voices instead of hearing our own.
Yep.
And when we start questioning things and say, whose is that? Is that mine? And regardless if it's yours or not, you might be like, oh my God, that's my mother. Or, it might be, no, hey, maybe that is mine. But have you ever questioned your thoughts? Like, do you agree with that?
Right.
Because what happens is, without even knowing it, this is totally a subconscious thing. It is, we end up being our biggest bullies versus our biggest cheerleaders. Mm-hmm. So what I do with conscious empowerment is I help people learn the skills and apply them to be able to put themselves back into the driver's seat that they didn't even realize they weren't in.
Nice.
Wow, very nice. Yeah, it's like, giving someone a manual for a life that doesn't have an instruction book. It's giving them the manual to modify their thinking to empower them, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yes.
And how you were talking about, we all have skills. Okay, we all are here. We all are intuitive. There's nobody that is on this planet that is not intuitive. You would not survive. Mm-hmm. We definitely do have powers that we have the ability to use, but we've never been shown how.
Right.
And we literally, as humans, we are the directors of energy, but we need to learn how to direct. But once you do and you start stepping in, it's just amazing what can happen. And when you guys were talking about, stepping into something, I always tell people, it's like, you know what, you might not be drawn to the things that other people are drawn to, but there might be things that are really, that you just feel like this is what I need to do. And I tell people, follow that sense. Don't do things because somebody else is doing them or because, it looks good. It's like, does it feel good?
Right.
Does it feel right for you? Because those are going to be places that not only are you attracted to, but then when you get into it, it's going to be like, oh, this is really showing me something, because you were using your intuition to do that.
Right.
And it's learning things like that. But, like I said, there's so many things that we hear, like the law of attraction, and we hear it, but we don't know how to necessarily apply it. So that's where, everything that I do comes from bringing in the pieces of our subconscious that we're not exactly aware of, and taking a look at that, and to be able to discover and to really go into some deep healing places to be able to rewrite the script. Because again, was it really written by us, or did somebody else do a lot of the editing and then we just went along with it?
Right.
Right. And when you find out that you can rewrite the whole thing, and you can create a show of your life the way you want it, just by directing those thoughts elsewhere, creating new thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Well, and just becoming, how do I say, your true self.
Yeah.
Realizing who you truly are can change your life dramatically.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
And allowing yourself to fail and allowing yourself to make mistakes, and not hearing your dad in the background kind of going, you shouldn't have done that, and berating you, kind of just giving yourself grace is kind of the really important part. But for you in your work, you must have a really great ability to meet people where they're at, to kind of set the baseline, and not expect that one person is going to respond the same as another person. So you probably have to do a lot of pivoting in your work to get the point across.
Well, that's where my connection with spirit is so strong. They show me, but that's exactly it. We are not cookie cutters, and that everybody has their own unique story. And literally, when we go through it, I say it's like watching somebody who comes in like this closed little bud. It's like this little lotus bud. And then as they work with me, it's like this lotus bud opening and taking form. And just, it's amazing to watch people, what they do. And no, there's no two people, honestly, that I've ever worked with that were exactly alike. They might have similarities, but we all hold the coding, whatever our belief systems are, whatever our energetic systems are. There's so much that makes that up. But that's where spirit shows me where to work with them, how to work with them. And, I have people that come for readings, and it's fun to be able to do that and watch them through the readings. But then I also have a 9-week intensive course that I do that I say it's kind of holding people by the hand. But first of all, I don't want to be anybody's guru. Like, that is not my job. I am a way shower. I can show you how to do it, but you have to do the work.
Right.
But if people who are ready and willing, and they're able to be able to, like, okay, I'm going to own this, and I'm going to make the changes that I need to make, and I'm ready to do this. I don't know how, but I'm willing to try. Those are the people that come to me, and what I do is I walk with them through this process that literally we kind of build a whole new foundation. And once that foundation is built, we build on top of that. Then anytime anything is going on in your life, what you do is you come back to this foundation. It's like, okay, what is not in alignment? Where am I out of tune here? And it shows you where you need to come back to be able to proceed the way you want to. And it's a beautiful thing. This is, like I said, it comes from what I had to learn. And I love how I'm watching people transform. And the biggest thing is this was unexpected, but it's kind of like, well, okay, I get it. There's so many people who have gone through like decades sometimes of therapy And they come and they do this course and they're like, oh my God, if I would have found you first, it would have saved me thousands of dollars.
Right.
Yeah.
But that the system wasn't designed to empower us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or the empowerment is your empowerment.
Right.
But it's conscious empowerment. So we learn, like, what does consciousness mean? It means to be aware.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be aware of what's going on around us. We need to be aware of what's going on within us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because I say everything is like Shakespeare's play. So we are on the stage. It's our life. We are the actor, we are the director, we are the co-hosts, we are the editors, we are the stage crew, all of it. It's us.
Mm-hmm.
Out here is where you see the results of what's
Right.
going on in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's such a powerful thing to be able to watch people get into that, like, no, it's mine. And I'm not a victim. I'm a creator. It's a very, very different mindset.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's where I help people transform and then I set them free.
What, because you've worked with tons of people, what's the most common hurdle that everybody has? I mean,
Okay, so our biggest disconnection is here. It's in our heart. It's within ourselves. It's about loving us. It's about knowing what that actually means, because a lot of us are like, oh, I love myself, you know. But then when you really get into the nitty gritty, they're like, oh yeah, I guess I don't talk very kindly to myself. And I guess I don't make any time for myself. And I got, you know, it's like all of a sudden this list of, I guess I don't kind of happens. But it's that self-realization. There's nothing wrong with that. It's being honest and just being like, okay, this is where I'm at, but I want something better.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, you know, that's very personal and happens in very personal ways. I've helped people with marriages. I've helped people, oh my gosh, careers, lots of career stuff happening lately. Personal relationships of all different kinds. I work with businesses to be able to help them make flow happen in their business and being conscious about it. To be able to shift up so many things, because it's like the walls have been closing in and closing in. It's like more and more control. And that's actually what's making things break down.
Yeah.
It's an illusion. And when we can open up and be able to express and to be able to be in a feeling state that we're supported and we are appreciated and heard, it makes an amazing amount of difference with people. And the productivity of doing exactly the opposite of what businesses are told is what makes them more successful.
I think that's what these last few years has shown us. You know, going through COVID and all that has been a big awakening that, you know, we don't have to do the 9 to 5 and or be controlled by our bosses and the company or the corporate stuff anymore. We can go where we're liked and where we're wanted.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And
we can create that situation to bring it to us.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You can manifest that into your life.
Nice.
Yes.
One of the things that you mentioned before about hearing other people's voices in your head, as I've been meditating over the years and whatnot, I have found that I say loving things to myself. It's the voices that have been recorded in my head of other people that kind of bring me down. So it's kind of recognizing by observing your thoughts, who is it actually that is telling you can't do it? It's not me. I think I can do it. Oh, that sounds like my dad telling me that I'll never amount to anything. You know, and it's kind of recognizing who's actually talking to you. Are you giving yourself the loving messages, and it's rather the recordings in your mind that are bringing you down? And once you kind of figure that out, you're able to put those on mute and just listen to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's where what those thoughts are, though, if you're recalling them like that, they are part of your belief system.
Right.
And when you're able to, okay, I see the thought, whose is it? And identify that, and then be like, do I agree with this?
Right.
Because first of all, if you identify that it's somebody else's, it's like, okay, and I don't agree with you, you have no power anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what do I choose for me?
Right.
Because with seeing it and identifying it and just deciding because if you agree with it, if it's a good thought, keep it. My goodness. We don't want to get rid of everything. We want to keep the good things and get rid of the ones that are the challenging parts, the ones that are the barriers and the limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very subtle. They're very subtle. Yeah. But when we start doing that, not only are we taking away the power from people that shouldn't have had it in the first place,
right,
but we are able to get to the next step of, okay, if I don't agree with that, what do I want that to be? Because clearing it out is one thing, but then we have to replace it because we don't want to leave a void. We want, what energy do we want in that place? Otherwise, it has a tendency, because it's familiar, it comes back in. But if we choose a new thought, that's where we actually make the change. Mm-hmm. And then just like, no, I don't agree with it. It's empowering to be able to say, I don't agree with that.
Right.
So
totally.
It's empowerment.
Yeah, it's awesome. We have a listener out here named Joy. She says, I have hosted a few of Coural's centered gatherings at my house, and she is so helpful. My friends still talk about the time Coral came with so much good information. Thank you. So we have a listener named Joy thanking you for all the great work that you do.
Hi, Joy. Yeah, Joy she has been a client for many years, and she's turned into a great friend, which is a lot of what happens with my work, because when you work with people, on those levels, you really get to know them. Mm-hmm. And she's been a blessing in my life in many, many ways too. So it's a two-way street between her and I, most definitely.
Yes.
those connections are awesome.
Yes. Yes. So how do people get in touch with you to have you help them out?
So I have a website, and it is IamTheCreatorOfMe.com.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So pretty straightforward, but the business name is Conscious Empowerment. That's what my goal is to be able to help people to free themselves and empower themselves, because I want more people to play with. I mean, yeah. It's so much fun. Let's play.
Yeah.
So through the IamTheCreatorOfMe.com, I do have a Facebook page. You can get to everything through there. A lot of fairs coming up. I'm going to be starting to post some different classes. There's also the private classes. So people can contact me anytime if they want readings, or if they're interested in that 9-week intensive, or any of the other fun stuff. I'm also, within the next week or two, I have 2 classes left, and I'm going to be certified at Ho'oponopono, which that is another really amazing, I know a lot of people know about it, but taking the class really opened up so many more things and showed me so many things about that Ho'oponopono. So mm-hmm. I'm a seeker. I'm constantly learning. There's always new things coming on, and
definitely
life is exciting.
Yeah, and you give really unique readings at wellness fairs, and we haven't had you at one of ours yet, I don't believe, but it's.
I was at one in La Crosse.
La Crosse. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I think our first year out.
Okay.
And you guys are a little farther than my territory normally goes, so that's.
You have this really interesting board that you bring with you, with all the different colors and flowers and stuff like that. I think one of your readings was one of the most unique kind of readings I've ever had. Can you kind of talk about that process?
Yes. So the board, and I don't think I have it in this room, but the board is a wheel that has the flower of life, which is in sacred geometry, that's the building block for all creation. And each individual circle is the chakra color, so it's our energetic system. So what it is when I do a reading, what I tell people is that they shuffle the cards. They are the ones putting their energy into it, and they draw the cards onto the board. You put 1 card in every chakra spot, and each chakra has a different area of expertise in the mind, body, and spirit complex. So each chakra has a different message from its point of view. But the whole board is your energetic system. So it shows you a wealth of information. It's everything is in the now. So it's what's going on with you right now. What's what are the pros? What are the cons? What are the things you need to know? A lot of times people get a lot of really big affirmations out of it. It helps you to see yourself from an energetic point of view so that you can see like, okay, this is maybe where I need to make some changes, or this is where I need to, apply more gas because this is working. And,
Right.
or caution side. Again, we are not cookie cutters. So everybody has their own, energetic makeup, but I read that energy so that people can see what's happening, and it's a navigation tool to help them to navigate. Like, okay, this is where I'm at. So like a GPS, now where do I want to go? and to be able to get there. But again, it can happen with any area of your life. So it just depends on what people are looking for. A lot of people I just want to see what's happening right now. And then people have specifics, like I need to know what's going on with this. Mm-hmm. So, it depends on the person. But the information is so, that was a divinely orchestrated tool that came to me. It was kind of an interesting story, but when I first started doing readings with people, I liked it and I hated it all at the same time. I literally got to the point, I'm like, people just want to know, well, what's going to happen? And, tell me, like, they want fortune tellers. They don't want intuitive readers.
Right.
There's a big difference. Psychics, that's why psychics have a bad name, but it is using your psychic senses. I literally walked out of a place one day when I got done with it. I had a very big argument with God, and I'm like, if this is what you want me to do, you need to give me a way that is actually helping people, because this sucks and I'm not doing it anymore. And I stopped. Mm-hmm. About a year later, there was a conversation around a campfire, and it was about a dishwasher top, which is a square board. It's like the old 70s dishwasher.
Yeah.
And it was a friend's like, hey, I want to make something out of this. What should I do? And we just brainstormed and we're just talking, and nothing happened that night. And six to 9 months later, all of a sudden she came with this at a friend's house, and she's like, I want you to see this. You got to, like, look at this. This is what I made. And it was the round top, and it had the chakras. And we played with it all night. It was the most fantastic thing. It was like, oh my gosh. And then she said, well, this board's mine. She's like, I'd like to make you one. And then I was like, oh, that's really awesome. Like, I would use this all the time. And then after I got it from her and I was processing it, it took me a while, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, this was the answer from when I basically laid an ultimatum. Mm-hmm. Give me a way to do it or I'm done. And I was serious. And it has never been the same. It has never been the same because it is something that really can help people. It's such great insights. There's so much that comes out of it. And, it was divinely guided. So, if you ask, you're going to get given. And
yes.
That's basically.
You just have to be patient. Yeah.
I think when Spirit knows that you're serious and it's not just some sort of random thought you're having, I think that's what makes the difference. Right.
But that, now, it took me a long time to figure that out and for that process to happen. But now things like that took me a couple years, I can help people do very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, no, here, just apply this process. And then they do, and it's like, whoa. Okay.
Right.
That's where it becomes
so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes. All
right. So we're coming up on the top of the hour here. I just really want to thank you and give you a great shout out for all the great work that you're doing. And I still think about my reading with you and the direction that I'm going. I encourage everybody to go to her website. And if Todd can put that into the chat, that'd be great. Can you say it again?
I am the creator of me.com.
Yes. And encourage everybody to kind of take a look and work with Coral to kind of help you out on your journey. So thanks again, Coral. This has been wonderful.
Thank you.
Yep. Hopefully we can have you on again sometime to tell us about your future adventures. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you on the circuit.
I was going to say, I love you guys, and I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Love you.
All right. Well, we're going to take a little break here and then welcome on Patty Q to our show. All right. Thanks,
Have a
Carl.
good day.
Want to see your video here? Sponsor WLTKDB Talk Radio and watch us make that happen. With your paid sponsorship of $80, you receive a professional produced audio, video, and banner placement on our station. Not only does your sponsorship air during our live shows, but also replayed on our podcast and heard by hundreds of like-minded people. Visit WLTKDB.com to get started and find out just how hard we work to get you noticed.
So welcome back to WLTKDB. This is Soul and Synergy Radio. And Patty Q is currently having some issues getting onto the site. So I'm waiting for my my partner in crime here to talk to her to try to work her through how to get back onto the show. But we're going to be talking about her artwork and how spirit communicates through her and the different types of experiences that she's had along the way. We have some examples of her art here and to kind of show you over the video part of this radio cast and get to learn just a little bit more. But as of right now, I'm going to have my co-host here talk to Patty on the phone.
Oh, what happened?
And try to troubleshoot her way back onto the show. So as far as my experiences with Patty, I've had a number of sessions with her to help me out, and she really communicates with a group of people, a group consciousness of sorts, and whole army of spirit around her, helping people answer questions to the things that have been happening to them, and a really kind of very moving, very kind of life-changing messages that have come through, at least for me, because I've had quite a tumultuous journey leading up to this point. And part of her work is doing artistry. And I have, or we have, a couple of different paintings of hers up on our walls that have been spirit guided, and definitely have some energy about them that is helping out the energy in the house and the energy around us. And one of her things that she's doing is, of course, she has prints of her artwork. It's kind of in the abstract kind of way. But you can definitely, and the plastic doesn't help right here, but you can definitely start seeing things in the paintings as you kind of investigate them further and kind of have an eye on them. You're like, oh, I can see this, I can see that. That's kind of what's coming through. And in the painting that I have of hers in the bedroom is it kind of looks like there's a shaman coming out and kind of standing in a doorway. So it's kind of like protecting the way and not allowing things to come into the house, and that she really has really great messages and really great suggestions and for opportunities for improvement. But as Terry works with her, and I'm hoping we're able to get this to work in order to get her onto the show. But while we are waiting for Patty Q to join us, I am actually going to grab my tarot cards. Hold on. So why don't I go ahead and pull a card for some of our listeners while we wait for Patty Q to get onto the show. This is where you kind of pivot and troubleshoot at the same time. So let's see. In our audience, I see The last person to comment was Rosalie, who says, "Hi, Patty Q. So glad and excited to join you." And of course, we have Courtney and some of the other people in the house here. Okay. And I can just let's pull a card for the week and see how this goes. All right. Oh, this is one of the more interesting cards to pull for this coming week. This is the Seven of Scrolls in my Chrysalis deck, and of course everybody uses their own deck, but this is the one that I've had for a very long time, and it shows kind of a satyr in front of two different doors, and he's hanging on to a scroll, but you see all the scrolls on the ground in front of him. And what this means is that someone has done a lot of thinking, a lot of research, has been receiving a lot of thoughts and opinions on which way they should be heading. But here they're presented with two different doors, and they're holding in their hand the thought pattern or the mindset that they've grabbed onto, but they're still questioning which door to go through. So this card normally pops up when you have a decision to make. So for this coming week, it's going to be a challenge for people to decide things, because you have to figure out, am I going to follow my head or my heart? Am I going to follow the knowledge I've been given that I've been carrying around with me, or do I go with my gut feeling and intuition to decide, do I go right or left, or go through door A or door B? So kind of be mindful of how you make decisions this week, and see where you go from there. And choices are always really kind of hard to come across or to find a 100% kind of reason for doing, because a lot of what we do is based on the information other people provide to us, and also our gut feeling or the way that we want to go, and what do we value more. So in this coming week, figure out, what do you value more as far as your information source? Do you value how you feel? Do you value the amount of evidence that people are giving to you as to which way you should go? And really, at the end of the day, you make your own choices. And I even wrote an article about this. I've kind of looked at life like a choose your own adventure book, where you get to a part in the book that says you can turn to page 146 or 304, make a choice, and this is what's going to happen. And that's really what these doors represent. It's which road are you going to go on for the remainder of your journey? And of course, we're presented with these doors constantly of which one to go through. You may make a decision and find yourself 5 minutes later having to change and make another decision, kind of like we're doing right now with the radio show. But always you're kind of guided into the correct direction. So I'm open for anybody in the audience wanting to have a card pulled for them, or reading, or anything like that at all, as we kind of work through some of these technical difficulties. But while I'm waiting for that, I can kind of talk a little bit about some of the things kind of on our journey as we're trying to move forward with all these things that are kind of ending up in our laps. We're adding on new things all the time, and it's always focused on the betterment of other people and helping ourselves. And well, I guess you would say, as we help others, we help ourselves at the same time, because the things that we present to some people really kind of resonates with us as well. So we're kind of learning about ourselves as much as we help other people learn about themselves. And it's all a big help in both directions. So all the things we do and come up with and want to try and the services we want to provide are all geared towards bringing people some solace in their world. And in the same way, it helps us as well. So in the chat box, we have Sylvia. I would love a reading for career, if possible, or general. So let's just see how this goes for Sylvia. Excellent name, by the way. All right, so we'll start with that one, and that one. Okay. So if we are focusing on career, I come up with first the Phoenix. And what this says is that if you're pondering a change in career, you pretty much have to burn down your comfort zone and allow yourself to grow into something new and different. It would be kind of like saying, you know, I've done this thing for 20 years, I'm ready for a change. So if you're looking for something with a career, it most likely should be in some aspect of something that completely challenges you and where you don't feel comfortable in doing it. It's just the same thing that you just left. It's just a different environment. So pulling more towards kind of tearing it down and going into a completely different direction. But this is the card of burdens. This is the 10 of spirals. This says that as you're contemplating this changing career, you might have to offload your perceptions about other things to do in order to try them. You might be having some opinions on different career paths or anything like that. Like, oh, I'd never do that, or no way in heck I would ever be that kind of a person. And kind of open up your thought patterns to trying things that are probably a little bit different than what you're doing right now. And in the end, for career possibilities, this is kind of the peace card that is saying moving in a different direction will probably give you some peace of mind in that you're taking yourself out of, and I just heard toxic situation, but you're taking yourself out of a situation that might not be congruent with your life path and kind of bringing yourself into something new. So what this is saying is that you might want to evaluate kind of moving in a different direction in order to challenge yourself further and see where that goes. And kind of taking yourself out of where you are and coming right back into something that you love and find joy in. How about that? Okay. Oh, so Sylvia says, I'm in transition going back to a creative interior design career and healing Reiki part-time and possibly IET. Okay, great. So it might be a time to kind of go into something you find valuable and enjoyable. All right, so next we have Courtney saying, was spirit in the car with me when I hit the pothole? I can give it a shot. I mean, anything's possible. If I pull up a card, I pull up the Four of Mirrors here. And for me, if spirit was in the car when you hit a proverbial pothole, it was probably there kind of laughing. This is a card that is all about kind of poking fun in that kind of a way. So you may be speaking about a pothole literally or a pothole in your life's path. But what this is saying is if that is the case, it was more likely spirit was kind of grinning at you than anything else. That's what I get from that. Take it or leave it, whether it resonates or not. Then we have Joy. Oh, okay, Joy. We can kind of move in your direction here. All right, something general here. Something general here for backstage. Joy. I'm going to finish this one, and then we can move on to Patty. Yay, she came in. All right, for you, this is a card. It's the mime card. It's the I'm pretending to be something so I can survive instead of being the person underneath the mask. So it's kind of saying, look towards who you are on the inside and allow that to be expressed on the outside as well. And not, how do I want to say it? Not being so concerned about how you'll be received, because in authenticity comes happiness and joy. And you may be sitting there going, well, I think I'm my authentic self, but really kind of take a look at those aspects where you might be a different person with different groups of people and kind of pull all those selves together into one self and be all those things at once. And so you don't have to worry about being a certain way with certain audiences. And people who resonate with that will come and go. But in the end, it's all about you and being happy and not have to worry about not saying a certain thing when you're with a certain person. And you can always just say what's on your mind and speak your truth. That's what I get from that.
Nice.
All right. Okay. So
Patty is joining us on her phone because her computer was having issues.
Okay.
So she might be a little wonky.
A little wonky?
A little wonky.
Okay.
A little frustrated.
Well, so after Patty, I'll get back to the audience for a different kind of card pulls. But let's welcome Patty to the show. You're on mute, Patty. There you are. Nice to hear you.
I am so upset that my debut got so mucked up on the laptop, so I'm a little embarrassed.
Oh, don't be embarrassed.
Not at all.
Not at all. This is really, you have people in the audience here that are like, hey, Patty, nice to meet you, and hello, and all that, because they're really excited to learn more about you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope so, because, you know, you kind of walk in this life with different challenges, and I really found this to be one of my biggest. And to stand here and be able to talk about it's an honor, and I thank both of you for your patience. And by the way, I love you both.
We love you too.
Your store is amazing, and you two just together make this whole store, and the energy that comes from you guys, it's very welcoming. And that's why all I can tell is, you know, success, because you two are putting it out there for the right reasons. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent. So one of the things that I wanted to bring you onto the show to talk about is your very unique approach to readings. Now, I've had readings from you in the past, and they've always been just this very powerful kind of messages, and how you work with your army and get the messages across, you know. Introduce the audience to your method for reading.
Sure. And I believe that if I would read everybody in this world, and by the way, everybody should have a reading, but prior to that reading, I receive information for that person. So and it may be 12 months before I actually see this person. So I'm always listening. I'm always putting things together. And it's important to realize why, so that when that person walks through the door for a reading, established message is already intact. Mm-hmm. So there's no flybys. There's no I don't make anything up. All I can do is speak what is supposed to be heard. Now, I have a beautiful support system in the spiritual world, and I have a huge support system through angelic beings. And I have to say, when I first started doing this, I realized my whole entire life was included with communication. And I don't know that I was consciously aware of it when I was young. So right now, it's enormous. So say I'm reading you, Danny, and you come to me and you have anxieties and grief that doesn't leave you. People have a tendency to sit on something and think about it so much that it just turns your insides, up and down and out, and you feel awful. So if it was just that, it's already a success. But when I started talking through communication and levels of intelligence, levels of color, by the way, it's very difficult to sit and listen. You really have to be patient. And it's something I've worked on for a very long time. When a reading begins, I am with the beings that are with this person. So I'm with your beings, Danny. They already knew I was coming. They already sat with me before I read you. So what that means is that they're learning how to better support you. So now in my life, that message is healing. It's very healing. If you sit too close to something for a long time, it turns dark. That darkness just grows and grows. So what happens is when I'm with this person's message, there's an easy exit for all negativity. There's an easy exit for all the things that you're holding on to. You may have to sit with me for an hour and a half, but in that hour and a half, you're going to feel totally new. And what happens is that I see on everybody that I read that they're holding on to falsehoods. They're holding on to arguments or the things that people told them while they were growing up. You know, you're not worth it. You know, you're stupid and all these hurtful, mean things. And if you don't let that move away from you, it challenges your normal self. Mm-hmm. It puts you away from your soul and it doesn't let you breathe because you believe it and you've hung on to it for so long, it actually turns black. So it's almost like, and this isn't you, Danny, but if I were to read someone, and I've done it plenty of times, they hang on to that blackness. It almost looks like a cape following them. And after a while, you're walking around in this life and you feel heavy. You just feel like lethargic. You feel awful. You're not happy. You don't have direction in your life. And by the time I get to see this person, it's a lot. So to prepare that person, my beings have already been with that person before I see them. Because I never ever read someone just for the heck of it. I always prepare. And the insight of this is really quite telling. So I see individuals' pain, and when it releases, it actually looks like one of my paintings. It has edges and it has deformities, but it's from that person. So that person has been reading to that all their life. So when you exit that and you breathe well, yeah, you immediately feel well. You immediately feel like you've got your life back. And then so often when I started reading, their soul is like buried. It's buried way deep in the darkest corner because that person never believed in themselves. So the purpose of the reading is to allow that person to breathe, but immediately angelic forces come in and replace your soul where it's supposed to be. So you're right, Danny, in that it is a different reading because it matters to the levels of what you're with. So the higher you believe in yourself, the higher that angelic realms can reach you, the more your spirit guides can help you, you rid yourself of the negativity immediately. Mm-hmm. So that is a huge mark for someone because all their lives they've been told you're this. You don't believe in yourself. You don't want anybody to know how deep and sad you are. You try to be happy and you can't. Your soul is just dragging you down. These are all things that I see in formations. Mm-hmm. So my art really is a reading. When I paint something, it identifies itself to that person. So I will share that Danny has one of my pieces, and it's built just for him. Mm-hmm. He sits with it, he breathes with it, it brings him message. Of course, when you're already, spiritually inclined, you hear a lot. Mm-hmm. And so the artwork of it is very satisfying in that when I'm not reading, I'm painting. And consciously, I may not know who it's for yet, but then I do. So mm-hmm. It's like a reading. You don't know who you're going to read, but then you do. And so I'm like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I did a reading for a young man who, he was psychic. We're all psychic. We're born that way. Everybody has intuition. but his psychic level was like very high, and he wasn't structured or didn't have the knowledge base to understand it. So he was having low-level spiritual beings yell at him. He couldn't hear. He was under so much stress. He couldn't sleep. It was like this huge party, but he didn't want to be there. So what I did was I did a reading that asked everything to realign, to align itself for the purpose of this young man. Now, if that spiritual being can test itself through me, they have a decision. Do you want to stay or do you want to leave? They are all a part of this young man's life, his existence. Mm-hmm. And so also the young man immediately feels like it's all left because the spiritual beings are engaging with me. They're talking through my system. They're with me to understand how to better shape this young man's life. On that day, I had about 5 of them leave. They didn't want to stay. So I'm like, okay. So the ones that remained learn and still learn through my people. So never ever believe that your mental capacities are totally off the charts until you realize what you sit with. And I have to be careful about how I say that, but the mental exhaustion alone is huge. And it stays with you. You don't know how to shape it. You don't know how to be with it. You don't know who can help me. What do I do? And all these things is exactly a message to begin. Mm-hmm. So say that, you're not intuitively inclined, but you came across an article on someone that can do readings that would totally change your life. And you stand there and you go, I think I might want to try that. That's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need to have any big kind of commotion in your life to want to have clarity. Clarity is the thing that sparks our soul to breathe, to live, to get up in the morning and be happy because you're alive. All those things tie into who we are as soulful human beings. Mm-hmm. So when I begin a reading and when that person leaves, their face is like they had a mini facelift because they're happy. They're happy. They're so happy. And then I always tell them, a reading like that never stops, because in your life, you're using symbols that have been given in that reading. Mm-hmm. So all the spirit beings and all the angelic beings that I know and that I trust give me the authority to give symbols and signs to that person. So it's like a download, right? So they may not need that symbol and its meaning now, but they will later, because angel can see the whole life ahead of that person. They can see all lives yet to live. So it's this really cool mapping system that's just kind of like downloaded. And that person has the authority to live their life as they choose. They don't need to use certain symbols or consciously know that they're using certain symbols. All they really know is that they feel better, that they feel like this was the right thing for me to do. And when it shines, the most telling thing is when friends or family say, "What are you on? Why are you so happy?" So it's like that. It's like that. So what I do may not be, flashy, but I tell you, the power of angelic being, along with spirit guides, will knock anything out of you that doesn't belong. And that's like my pride. That's my joy. Because then that person can breathe and they can live well. And that's truly my message.
So we have the individual artwork,
Mhm.
that is designed for the individual people.
But we have to take a bottom of the hour break.
Oh, okay. So we'll be back in like 2 minutes, and we'll go into the artwork that we have in the store.
Yeah, so hang on, Patty. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Only 5% of our patterns of behavior are driven by our conscious mind. 95% of our patterns of behavior are driven by what we hold in our unconscious mind. Root cause therapy is a holistic healing modality using advanced testing methods to help you identify and shift the patterns and beliefs holding you back from achieving goals, changing unhelpful patterns, or stepping into the relationships you truly deserve. Using no drugs, no chemicals, root cause therapy will help make your unconscious thoughts and beliefs conscious in order to achieve lasting change in a focused amount of time. Deidre Sanford is a certified root cause therapy practitioner, energy worker, and psychic medium who knows her clients truly deserve to heal their deepest wounds in a safe container. By combining her skills in your root cause therapy program, Deidre will work with you to bring what's hidden deep in your mind to the forefront and to create lasting change. Root cause therapy is proven helpful in overcoming anxiety, emotional eating or spending habits, low self-esteem, and many other unhelpful patterns based in your past experiences and incomplete emotional cycles. Contact Deidre today to learn how root cause therapy may assist you in letting go of that which is holding you back from achieving the life and relationships you truly deserve. Contact Deidre by calling 630-506-8381. That's 630-506-8381, or schedule your consultation at DeidreLSanford.com.
Hello again.
Hello.
Welcome back, everybody, to Soul and Synergy Radio here on wltkdb. We're going to continue our conversation with Patty Q. And I was just call you Patty Q. I just blow by your last name, but
Yeah, that's okay. Everybody knows me by Patty Q.
yeah. Before we move on to your artist, or your art rather, do you have a little kind of quip about why you selected Q?
Oh, yes. When my maiden name is Quali. And so when I got married, I kept the Q. And a little caveat is that both of our children's middle name is just Q. So,
Wow.
yeah, Meredith Q and Brody Q.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. Kind
Do
of
what I
pass
can.
it on. Yeah, wonderful. So we have some examples of your artwork here. I showed a little bit about of your artwork while you were coming online. But I do want to say that I look at your art piece for me. It's on the wall right in front of me before I go to bed at night, but when I wake up in the morning, and I see so many different things in it all the time. But really kind of has manifested itself is my little either shaman or witch doctor that sits in the right hand side and kind of blocks the doorway for all the things that shouldn't be coming through. And it just I can look at it and I can see different images here and there, and then the next day they're gone and it's something new. And it's like whatever it is I need to see for that day, I see. And however that works itself into my life during the day, so be it. But you see the things you need to see when you need to see them. And I kind of use that same approach in my tarot readings, where I look at the tarot card and certain things pop out for different people. It's not the whole card that gets read for any individual. So just like in your art, Art is geared towards people, and it has a life of its own.
Yes.
It's a living thing. It's just
Yeah.
not a painting on the wall.
Exactly. And the pieces that I have, I'm actually so the card that you have at the store, I've made into prints. So I do have some paintings that can sit in anybody's house. You know, so like you hang a print on your wall, and it does the same as a reading. It encourages you to understand yourself. It wants your happiness. It sinks into your psyche, if you will, and you're a part of something that you never thought you really were. And I think that's the coolest thing too, because you know, if you opened up your mind's eye, all of these things, all of the guests on your shows, and the people that you know that I know, we're all in it for the same reason.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
we want people to understand better and know that they're okay. So my artwork is that. It is that.
Right. And it's
Okay.
well, go ahead.
So I have, and they're all labeled. So I got 2 here. And so talk to me about face your demon, chase your dreams.
Which I can see so many things in this right now, but
Yeah.
kind of talk about
Yeah.
the evolution of this piece.
That is a really good one. This one actually falls into that category of mental exhaustion. So in my mind's eye, I named that one Nightmare, because there's light, there's strength, but it's dark. So you're starting somewhere in your life to wanting to heal. If you had a visual context to heal with, that's what that is. So when I was painting it, it was a lot brighter, but when it turned out, it was not. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is for someone who believes that there are demonic or evil presence. This one would clear your house in that sense. That print, that painting is why I created that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I see like a bowl within it.
Yeah.
The cording, you know, around the neck. You know, it's just like, I've got the strength to take care of this.
And I also
And
see an
there's-
elephant with tusks.
Yep. And I see a warrior, like the sword looks like a warrior.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes teenagers a lot can get confused with so many visuals they're a part of, that they start believing in things that are not real. So if they had a piece like this, they can associate with it because it looks, you know, like courageous, or it looks strong. And that's just part one of a healing system. So I have a lot of paintings at home, and I have soul paintings. But the purpose of a painting is to relieve you of the stress and the anxieties, or show you that there's more and different ways to be happy. And that's really why I do this too.
Right. Right.
I mean, sometimes what I say is too normal, and people really aren't normal, but sometimes what I say out loud, people are just very surprised by it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that helps. That's kind of a thing with all healers. You
Mhm.
know, when we start making people aware of what we're getting and what we're seeing, and digging deeper and deeper and deeper, those emotions or feelings come back and go, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So the other one I have is Path of Healing. Clear your fear and taste freedom. Placed for clarity of mind, body, and spirit.
So what was your thought behind this one?
Well, this one has, and I didn't really talk about this. This one has a lot of structure.
Yeah.
So when I do readings, one of the symbols is to build that structure. And coral was kind of alluded to that too, where the structure is very meaningful and it doesn't leave. And when you receive a symbol or angelic information or spiritual connections, they have to ignite that part in that structure that's just for them, so that you know you're being pulled up by the love and light. You know that they're there to help. When the structure is built for our comfort. So you can imagine if you're just allowing things to happen, you have no real design to figure it out. So you're doing way more damage than you believe you are. So that structure makes you live it.
Okay. Nice.
Very nice.
So try it.
And then I have one here. It's still in the plastic, so it's going to be a little bit shiny. It says, "Strength of structure, signs of freedom, spiritual awareness finds your song."
I love this one. I love this one. It is beautiful and bright and powerful. It has the structure I alluded to, but it also has things in it that encourage you more to imagine. So you don't really know how much is out in this world unless you push yourself to try to understand. And this piece is the kind of the culmination of all the things that I've done to speak it. So the piece that you showed is exactly that. It provides strength, honor, integrity. It shows spiritual wellness, and everybody looks at it and they see something different, but that piece points to your success, and that's why I painted that one. It's powerful for me. That's probably one of my favorites.
Yes, definitely. And you're getting some nice comments in the comment section. Sylvia from Facebook just says it's gorgeous, and very interesting, and is very much appreciating your talent here. But I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever did a painting? Spirit comes to you and says, "I need you to help this person," and you develop a painting for them, but then you decide, "I can't give this to them."
I can't do that.
You just always do it?
I have to. Yep, I have to. That is exactly it. That's a really good point, where when you are with spirit or angel, it is for a purpose. And I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't do it.
Right.
Because every word I say, all the paintings I've done are for the purpose of happiness and wellness. Mm-hmm. And I actually, that happened to me once. And I'm like looking at that piece going, yeah, it's really more dark than I thought it was. But actually, it pointed to hope. It pointed to a higher being call. Because we all look for things that make us happier and happier. And so spirit beings come to us all the time. They know us, they see us, they hear us. And so when there's a certain painting that must be made, I know about it. In fact, I held one for probably 2 years until I found its home. So it's really quite magical, really. But every being that I associate with has the same purpose, but they may look different to me. They may sound different. They may have a different message, an incredible message, but then there's those that come and just sit and stare at me, and I don't know why they're there, and they'll hang out with me, and it's okay. That's what they're here for. They listen to how I speak. They listen to my messages that I give in a reading. They understand more and more about how to help people be well. So it's not just me. The spirit world is really on board with all things well. So they then leave with purpose, the same kind of meaningful purpose that everybody wants to have in their life. And then they help whoever it is that they need to help.
Right.
Nice.
And I asked that because I had a really weird thing happen to me. Now you know me, I hear spirit, I hear voices, whatever. But I was doing a tarot reading in Grand Rapids, and I'm doing my typical reading. Cards are flying everywhere, and the person's trying to keep track. And then as I'm talking about one card, literally I heard, "Stop talking." And I heard them say, I was going on about this card, and they told me to stop talking about it with them. So I was like, does that mean that there's information that I'm not supposed to be giving? Does it mean that I was about to hit on a tangent? They literally said, stop talking. So I just was trying to figure out, do you ever get in a position where you're told they're not ready for it?
Yes and no. If it's a difficult message, say it's someone who has lost a loved one, it's pointed towards the regions of healing from that loss. But like you, in a reading, yes, I have had spirits tell me, Patty, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need to move on to the next thing.
That. Okay.
So, and when they're comfortable with you, and that's why this happened, Danny, is that they're very comfortable saying it to you, and you do. Okay. Got it, so you have to move on. And a lot of times I find that when I'm walking outside, just minding my own business, I get a full-on download of a person who's walking ahead of me. What am I supposed to do with it? I don't know that person. And so that's even like, it's very informational. But maybe I'll see that person one day. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But it keeps you alert. It keeps you moving with that mojo. It keeps you enlightened. It keeps you from stop listening, because you learn by listening. You learn by participating. And there's nothing better than when you can stand with an angelic light and not crumble from its pressure, because they are very harsh. Just saying. They're very, very huge. And they don't really look like they look on paper or in books and whatnot.
No.
So I really work with the biggest and the loudest. And the rest then is like icing, because if I can do that, I can do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you ever gotten to a point where you just said, I've had enough. I this is too much of a burden for me. I need to have a life.
Yes. And also I'll share really quick with that. Why? Because so as I was growing up, they would, the beings that tended to me would give me challenges, but I'm only 12 years old, for God's sakes. But I wasn't feeling well one night, and I went downstairs and I was laying on the couch. I think that was the night I passed out and fell down the stairs, but maybe my mom's watching and can agree. But I was laying on the couch, and what happened was this being of brilliant color was standing right there at my feet, and it wouldn't let me go. And the harshness of this was that they didn't tell me what it was for. They didn't tell me anything. So my 12-year-old self had to figure that out for the rest of my life. Should that have happened? Probably not, but they knew I would deal with it. They knew that I would be okay. Mm-hmm. But in that challenge, as I got older, have children and things, I can't do this right now. So what it does is it just kind of mirrors itself and it stays with you. But you have to live. You have things you have to do. Mm. So that mirror provides me the same learning techniques, the same things that I need to know as I grow older. Yeah. So, yeah, it happens.
Mm-hmm. I've been taking over the whole thing. Do you have any questions, Terry? I just keep talking.
I know I'm just enjoying it. No, I know Patty for years, and we have this interesting bond. She goes away, I go away, then we're back together, and we do all these fun things again. And then it's not like right now she's in Florida enjoying her vacation and stuff. But I think I want to let people know that that this is available in the store. But I also think we're gonna I haven't talked to Patty about this yet, but I think we're going to put this online on our Shopify channel when we get it going. So they'll be able to, people will be able to reach it online as well.
Yeah, and as we were going through and Patty was talking about her art, I'm thinking, you know, we have such a great audience. We could do something on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And put the paintings on our Facebook, on our website, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
get more healing sharing out there. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
but
real.
aside from us kind of shamelessly promoting you, do you have an avenue for people to reach out and purchase something elsewhere?
Not yet.
Not yet?
They can reach me through Facebook. I am working with someone that you guys know, and I will use her talents for my website.
Okay.
So that's very much part of my world right now.
Yay.
Yay!
Yeah, because I really think that, you know, these paintings or even the prints, you know, I think they're asking for a home, and the only way we're going to be able to find that for them is to display them, or have people come to the shop and take a look. So I think we'll definitely have to do that. And Courtney says you're paving the way, so you're kind of moving in that direction. But I have a question up here that's kind of toward me. But since we have you and all of your connections, I'm going to ask for your help on this one. Shell says, I have a decision to make that will put me out of my comfort zone, especially at this time of my life, but feel it may be necessary for me. Would love a reading on this. So is anything coming to you relative to that question?
You know, everyone needs challenges. Immediately, I know that it's the right thing to do. Immediately. So that statement is almost on the very tail of it's already happening kind of thing. So that presence of mind to look for answer is exactly what she needs to do, in terms of like she can just say it out loud in her head or say it out loud and hopefully someone would answer if she knew none of us. But yes, I believe that challenge is exactly going to point her in the direction of newness, but actually in familiar territory. So the result of that connection means that she almost is like made ready for it right now. It's like she could walk through that challenge and already know she's okay. And that is like a promise to her that if you shed the fear, if you place yourself in an issue, Spirit Guide will give you the authority to move along with him and share with each other the purpose of this challenge. So it's multifaceted. It's not just one sentence, but it's a whole meaningful path that she is on. Now, there's no denying it. So that's why she's asking it. There's no denying it.
Right.
So when she pushes towards something, it's very easy then.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so we know Shell, and we know that her past journey has been rough in the last few months, and we know there's things happening for her, and you've confirmed exactly what I've told her.
Oh, yeah. See?
Yeah. So that would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Shelly, if you're still there, go ahead and comment if you'd like.
Yeah.
So.
But I thought having you here with your armies.
I do have armies.
You do. Yeah, and it's very interesting to be around you when they come with you. It's like you have this presence about you, and it's just like almost like a Secret Service agents.
Yeah.
You know.
What it does, it fills the room. You know, it fills the room.
Yep.
I mean, like when I do a psychic fair with you guys, you know, you're being a psychic person would think and that you need to be watchful and careful, but I fill the room. I feel very happy and comfortable. So that's exactly what I need.
Yeah.
Now, with both of you, when you go to all these venues and things, you are getting better at doing exactly that. So sometimes it does take a little bit to learn how to do that, but it's what you need. So you're asking for it and you're receiving it.
Yeah. and a lot of times at the beginning, or I'll go outside while I'm setting up the show, or getting things ready in the morning before all you guys get there.
Mhm.
And I'll put our sign out front, and I'll stand out front, and I'll just push my love and my energy out to the city, and see
Yeah.
how that
Cool.
brings people back in. So yeah, for sure. There was something here I was missing. Oh, you must know Sylvia Gardner on some platform.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Yep. So she says you're talented. Glad to catch you live.
And we have a Sherry saying, amazing talk show. Thank you for being on YouTube number 144.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means, but thank you.
But I like 144.
Yeah, that's my number.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's one of my angel numbers. So thank you very much for saying that. That's really means something to me.
Yeah.
So do you have anything on the horizons that you'd like to share with the audience?
Actually, I am doing your psychic shows in April and in May.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, if I say this right, Eau Claire is April and May is on Alaska.
Yep. Spring Psychic and Wellness is April 29th, and on Alaska,
Right.
Psychic and Wellness is May something. Yeah. I don't have
Yeah,
that date.
and also I am doing it's an art tour. There's this thing going around in Wisconsin where it's Pepin County. It reaches to Eau Claire, Durand,
Yep.
And I'll be setting up to sell my prints and original pieces on June 2nd. Is that a Friday? 3rd and 4th ish in there. So
Okay.
I'll be in Pepin.
Nice. Yeah, that's the weekend before we're in Duluth. So
Yes.
that would be right. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
So we're going to close out the show with a little bit of a kind of a reading for the week. I normally do it with my cards, but since we have our talented Patty Q,
Yeah.
do you have any channeling to say, what to look for in this coming week?
There may be silence. Never take it as being without. Silence encourages us to grow and to hear ourselves speak. We are always with the things that are very important to us. If you don't understand, always ask. Spirit will always be with you. Angel is always with you. So your week this week is about love and light.
Love and light. Yay. That sounds really great. And you got a thank you from Shelley, thanking you and us. I feel I'm being led to this decision to be more confident in my abilities to conquer any fears. Thank you so much. So
Hallelujah.
yeah, definitely.
For sure.
So when do you come back to us? When do we feel your presence back in Wisconsin?
Well, it's the end of the month. We'll be back in Wisconsin. So just a couple more weeks-ish in there. But I'm looking forward to it. I have so many things to share. And if I can say really quick, when I'm on the Gulf, water message is huge. If we did a session just to talk about the things I've heard on my walks on the beach, oh my God, it's beautiful. And it's so soulful method of water. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Water is very powerful. I feel the same way. I grew up on Lake Superior.
Yes.
And to be in the middle of Wisconsin, landlocked as an adult, is kind of like, oh, I miss my lake.
Yeah, we get back as soon as we can.
Yeah, whenever we go to Duluth or Ashland, it's just like, oh, there she is again.
Yeah.
So yeah, water does provide a lot of great messages and a lot of strength. And water in any aspect of like the directions or whatever is about emotions.
It is.
And dealing with emotions and whatnot. And I've even handed thought patterns to Mother Superior and saying, please take these for me, and because I can't use them anymore, and feeling that being taken away, it's just so powerful.
Oh, I know. When we go, it's like I can't get my feet in that water quick enough.
Yeah.
Like we'll go up by his dad, and I'll say, okay, let's get this done so we can get to the water.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you so much, Patty, for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I'm sure we'll have you on again to talk about your adventures some more.
Would love
And
it.
we'll be displaying your art for the audience on our site and on Facebook, and getting you some advertising there. But
yeah, and a big thank you to all of our viewers. I'm sure we're missing some comments because they're coming in so quickly and stuff, but thank you for watching and being with us and helping us to grow.
and joining us on this adventure.
Yeah.
All right. So from Terry and I, thank you for watching Soul and Synergy Radio, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
The truth is here and now on WLTKDB Talk Radio at wltkdb.com.